Hello, everyone, and welcome to David Goodman's Reality and Truth Show. My name is Vanita Lambert, and I have the honor of hosting the show every single week and to bring resources and information to our community to hopefully, help you in certain ways. So today I want to talk a little bit about a couple of things. I have a few public service announcements that I want to go over. The first one is going to be, I want to inform everyone that the 2026 Juneteenth Parade and Festival will take place on June 13th at Seaside Park. Again, that's Saturday, June 13th at Seaside Park from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the festival is going to be featuring the Delphonics. They will be there live, and featuring Gary Stevens. So, and that's Saturday, June 13th. They'll be coming on the stage at 3 o'clock p.m. Also, we're going to be doing a podcast and an Access TV show with Juneteenth on June 5th. I think it's Friday, June 5th. Yes, it is the week before. It's Friday, June 5th. So you want to tune into Twitch, listen to the podcast. Gary Stevens is going to be, we're going to Zoom him in because he'll be coming the following week. He's not going to be able to stay for 2 weeks. So when we do the podcast, we'll have Deborah Cavanis, probably Deborah Cavanis. I don't want to commit her to something she has not committed to, but at least somebody will be here representing Juneteenth. I think Joanne Butler, Sylvia Woolfolk, and maybe Lynn Sestrick will be here to represent Juneteenth, and possibly Deborah Cavanis to do the podcast on Friday. That'll be June 5th. And Gary Stevens, we're going to Zoom him in because he'll still be out of town. And so you'll have all of this information. It's going to be live on Twitch. Then it's going to go on YouTube. And it's also going to go out in the greater Bridgeport area on Access TV as always. So please, everybody, Saturday, June 13th, come down to Seaside Park and, enjoy the parade. Like I said, it's going to be from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we need all of your support. So please pass this information along to your friends, your family, your neighbors, everyone in the greater Bridgeport area and beyond if you like to come. A lot of folks from Bridgeport always come back to Bridgeport for certain reunions. People that retire and move, to the south or the west, they always come back. As a matter of fact, the Father Panic Village reunion, where I grew up, we have the Father Panic Village reunion the last Saturday in July every single year. And there's always so many people from out of town that used to, that are from Bridgeport, that lived here. So, pass this information on. Come out and support. We're going to have vendors. We're going to have entertainers. It is just going to be phenomenal. It's always a good time. And it's going to be Deborah Cavanis is the president of Juneteenth, and she always gives her very best, and everyone always have a wonderful time. So again, it's going to be the 34th anniversary for Juneteenth Parade and Harambe Festival. Okay, so that's one of the announcements that I wanted to make. And the other one was, I would also like to mention that we're going to be doing a podcast with two educators from, they're from Connecticut, but they live in Florida, and they opened a school in Florida. And their story is amazing. I've heard some of it, but you have to hear this. So we're going to have them here. They're going to be doing a podcast and Access TV as well, and that's going to be on June 12th. That'll be the day before the parade. So I just think it's amazing when someone, a Black female opens a school in Florida because of extenuating circumstances in the education field that they work, things just didn't work out. And I don't want to tell this story because I don't really know it. And, God is so good. So he worked it out where they open their own school. It's just amazing. And I love that. And I can't wait to hear it. So please tune in for that. And if you're not able to tune in, it will be on YouTube on June 12th. So please share that information. That's another thing that I wanted to mention. And then we're going to have someone from the Democratic office, registrar's office. I'm hoping May 29th, if one person is available. I haven't even contacted them yet because I just came back from vacation and I'm kind of all over the place right now, but I'll settle down and get someone down here because I heard something I believe it was on Facebook, and I just want to verify it and confirm the information. And it sounds like it could be true. This is what I heard. I heard that when you go to vote in this upcoming election, that if you have been married or if you have changed your name, you may have to prove that. So I don't know if there's any truth to it. Right now, it's just a rumor that I heard. But, I'd rather be safe than sorry. We want to get all the information on what information we need when we go to vote. Do we need our real license, or can we use any license? Can we use our passport? If we have changed our name like I did, my maiden name is Powell and now it's Lambert. So if I go to vote and I show Vanita Lambert and I need something that says, that proved that, my maiden name, to prove that I was married and this is who I am. I don't even know what they're doing, and obviously it's confusing me because I just don't know how we can go back to that. But I don't even, we have gone back to so many things, and I emphasize back because we are going backwards in a lot of different categories. So I can't believe that, we're going to have to prove that. So it's just a lot of little things going on with the election to maybe prevent certain people from voting on that day. So what I like to do is just be prepared for worst case scenario. If we need the information, we'll have it. If we don't need it, no harm, no foul. But anyway, I just want to put that out there, and this is for females only because I don't know many men. Well, even if you change your name, if you're a male, now that I think about it, and you changed your name to maybe you have, a celebrity name or alias name or just whatever that you go by, and you legally change something, then you may have to prove who you were or who you are, in both those names. But I know for specifically women that are married that takes their husband's name, yeah, you will definitely have to, there's a real possibility that we may have to prove something. I don't know what. That's why I'm bringing them here to find out. It's so confusing. You can tell just by the way I'm trying my best to explain it, but I don't feel like I'm doing a real good job. So tune in. We're gonna have an expert here. Tune in soon, hopefully next Friday. Okay, everybody. Those are my public service announcements. And what I like to do now is kind of pick up a little bit where I left off at. And so, again, I just want to reintroduce myself. My name is Vanita Lambert. I am an independent Medicare and retirement planning specialist. And I have a passion for helping people protect themselves, their families, and their nest eggs. And how I do that is I will drive anywhere in Connecticut, sit at your kitchen table for absolutely free. It won't cost you a thing, and go over starting with the 4 areas that will impact your life the most. Those areas being Medicare, long-term care, final expense planning, life insurance, and retirement income. And so what I do is I break those areas down, and we talk about Medicare. There are 4 parts to Medicare, and we simplify that for you. It's part A, B, C, and D. Doesn't get any simpler than that, right? So Medicare Part A covers your inpatient hospital, and if you work 10 years or 40 quarters in this country and you pay the Medicare taxes, you are entitled to Medicare Part A, which there's no monthly premium for that. Based on your insurance, there may be an annual co-insurance, an annual deductible, but that's based on your co-insurance. So without any co-insurance, there is a $1,767 annual deductible with Medicare Part A if you were to go into the hospital without any other co-insurance. And then there's Medicare Part B. That covers all of your outpatient service. Things such as doctor visits, medical supplies, tests, and things like that. Medicare Part B covers 80% of all of the outpatient care. You are responsible for paying the other 20%. And there's 2 ways to do that. But before I tell you about that, Medicare Part B, there is a monthly premium to Medicare Part B. Right now it's $202. And there's 2 ways that you could pay that. You could pay it through, if you're collecting Social Security, they can deduct it directly from your Social Security. Or if you are not collecting Social Security, they, they will bill you quarterly, and you can pay it that way. And Medicare Part B is tricky. I always recommend, when turning 65, sit down with a licensed agent to find out exactly what you need to do and what you don't need to do. I've been doing this a long time, and I've sat down, I can tell you 100 stories with people that were still working full-time, okay, and had medical benefits that cover hospital, outpatient, inpatient, prescriptions, and everything. And then they turned 65, and I don't know where they got the information from, but they would go online or call the Social Security office and sign up for Medicare Part A and B. Now, Medicare Part A, no problem, is free, but Medicare Part B, you have to pay for it. And so they were paying for something that they already had. They didn't need to do that. Had they sat down with a licensed agent and gone through the confidential needs analysis, which asks questions and your answers determine what the next steps are, they would have known that, okay, at this particular time, you do not need to sign up for Part B because you are still working and you still have those benefits with your job. So you don't need to sign up for Part B until you lose those benefits and you retire completely. And then, even then, you may not need it because it would depend on if and or what type of retiree benefits you may be receiving from your job when you retire. So that's why it's so important to have your plan customized by a licensed representative, because we ask you all these questions and you tell us all these answers, and with your answers it tells us what you need, what you don't need, and how to proceed, what the next steps are. This way you never get caught up into paying for something you already have, and you won't need it until you leave. So Medicare Part B, is tricky when you turn 65. If you're not sure, just give me a call, 203-687-2778, or send me a text message, or you can email me, whatever your choice is, I will respond to you. So now Medicare Part B, as I said, it covers 80% of your outpatient care. Then the other 20% you're responsible for paying. So there's 2 ways to cover that. There's a traditional way to cover it, Medicare supplement way, and then there's the Medicare Advantage Part C option. So it gives you 2 options to cover it. Again, we ask you the questions, we go over the answers, and we make a recommendation. Should you get a supplement, or should you get Part C, or what you qualify for? At that point, that would be a time where we may ask a monetary question. For example, is your gross monthly income over a certain dollar amount? Because that also will tell us if you qualify for maybe the Medicare Savings Program or if you don't. And that's a whole nother thing. If you qualify for it, Medicare Savings Program, then you don't have to make that choice. You just get Medicare Part C. And then if you qualify for it, the state of Connecticut pays your Part B premium, okay? And they also pay all your co-pays and all your deductibles based on your gross monthly income if you are under that threshold. So, and then we could sit right there, fill out an application, send it in. We have all the information, and we simplify this complicated Medicare puzzle for you. Just by asking you questions and you answering the questions, we know exactly what to do. So that's how you cover the other 20% of what Medicare Part B doesn't cover. And when you get the Medicare Part C, the Medicare Part C is managed by private insurance companies like United Healthcare, Anthem, Aetna, Humana, those guys. And usually the Medicare Part C, almost all of them have a Part D package, which is your prescription. So it's all included. So you have the inpatient hospital, you have the outpatient doctors, you have the supplement to cover the 20%, and then you have your drug plan all in one package deal when you select to go Medicare Advantage. Okay? And then if you do not select to go Medicare Advantage, or you have other circumstances, which there are, again, so many, then you'll have to get a separate Part D prescriptions. And let me give you an example. Say, for example, you're a veteran and you go to the VA hospital and they supply your doctors and all your medications and things like that. Then you would not need to get Medicare Part B. A lot of my veterans don't have Medicare Part B because they get those services at the VA hospital for free. They get their prescriptions filled, they have their doctor there, and they just don't need it. And they automatically qualify for Medicare Part A because they paid into it for the past 10 years. So it's complicated if you think about it, but if you sit down with a licensed insurance agent, we ask you the questions, you give us the answers, we make it simple for you, we do the work for you, we follow up and make sure you have everything that you need. Simple, right? And you're eligible for Medicare when you turn 65 and have paid into it for 10 years or 40 quarters, like I said before, or if you're disabled for 24 months and you have paid into it, then you get Medicare, or if you have end-stage renal disease, or if you're the beneficiary of someone. Say, for example, you're a housewife that never worked at all and you've been married for at least 10 years, even if you were divorced, if you were married for 10 years at any time of your husband who qualifies for Medicare benefits, you can sign up for Medicare as that person's beneficiary, but you got to be married 10 years. And like I said, even if you're divorced, you still qualify for it. So it's good to know what your rights are. Okay, so Part 2, long-term care, which most folks don't even think about it because you don't need it. You don't think about these things until you need them. Long-term care is not just, I know most people think of a nursing home. That's the first thing I thought of when I heard long-term care. It's like, I don't want to go to a nursing home. But it's not just that. It's also an asset protector, okay? And what is long-term care? Long-term care is defined by not being able to perform 2 or more of your daily living activities. What are daily living activities? Getting up out of the bed and going to take a shower for yourself. That's one. Being able to drive yourself to the doctor, that's 2. Continence, that's 3. There's only 6. And if a medical professional certifies that you are unable to do 2 of those 6 on your own, then you qualify or need, I won't say qualify, you need long-term care. And there are so many ways to get it. And again, based on your income. If your gross monthly income is under a certain threshold and you need long-term care, there's agencies like Agency on Aging, and other resources. Just pick up your phone and Google it. There are so many different resources. There's Medicaid, Title 19. There's all of that if you need it. Okay, and so the studies show that at least 70% of people over 65 will need some type of long-term care. Okay, and that's a big number. So think about that. If you had a 70% chance of hitting lotto, would you buy a ticket? Yeah. So I recommend everyone have a conversation with your loved ones, with your parents, or whoever's getting up in age, 60, 65, or whatever, and just ask them, if you weren't able to take care of yourself for the next 6 months, how would you do that? What would happen? Who would take care of you? Say, for example, it doesn't have to be Alzheimer's or anything like that. Let's just say it's a rotator cuff issue. Somebody fell and tore their rotator cuff up. Who's going to take care of that person? Now, if they have a spouse, and if the spouse is the male is the one that hurt himself, and he's 6'2", and your spouse is like 5'1", how will she take care of him? He's taller, he's bigger, he's heavier. Because when you tear your rotator cuff, and you have that surgery, your arm is in a triangle, you need help getting in and out of the shower. And the bathroom is one of the most dangerous places that I could think of. You need that help, okay? You have to, get dressed. You need help getting dressed and things like that. So ask yourself, if you're living with someone, whether it's a spouse or a family member, will they be the ones to take care of you, okay? And how would they do that? Or let's say, for example, you live alone. Who's going to take care of you? Most people go, oh, my kids will take care of me. But how would they take care of you? What if your children live out of town? What if your children have children and they work all day full time, like everybody, average person needs a full-time job just to survive, work all day, then they come home to their 1, 2, or 3 little kids and have to take them to football practice and do their homework and things like that. How are they going to do all of that in their lives and take care of you? How is that possible? So these are some of the tough questions that I ask, and it's not going to be a highlight of your day when I get there. But once we get all of these things in order, get all of your affairs in order, get all of your questions answered, you're going to be able to sleep easier, okay? It's just a fact. And let's see. So, like I said, studies show that 70% of people over 65 will need long-term care. Why is that? Because people are living longer. People are living now to like 90 is like an average. I know people 90, 95. There's plenty of folks living over 100. And the life insurance people has already predicted that the first person to live to 150 has already been born. That's scary. I don't want to live that long. I don't think I'll be good at 150. I don't want to live past my time. But think about that. People are living longer. And the family transformation is different. Everyone is so busy. We're in a fast-moving world where, 3-year-old kids have things that they have to do, okay? So let me just move right along here. We got a few minutes left. If you have a long-term care plan in place, then you're all set. Then these are some of the ways you can get long-term care. You can have a home health care aide come to your home and take care of you, for a few hours a day while your daughter's at work, or you need relief, or your husband just needs to, go play golf or have a life of his own besides taking care of you the whole time. You can have someone come into your house and take care of you in the morning, then they come back in the evening and help you get settled. So that's one way at home. The other way is assisted living facility, where you're like in a senior building and you're kind of independent. You're living on your own, but you have someone to come in daily just to help you out a little bit. And then of course there is the last and least popular place is the nursing home. Most people that I sit down with do not want to live in a nursing home. Some people do. And here's the thing, you need to make that decision in a living will, because you don't want to leave your children, with the burden of making a decision of, should we put mom in a nursing home, or who's going to take care of her, or do I need to quit my job and move in here and take care of her, or move her into my house? These are things you want to relieve your children of burdens like that, especially if you have two sons. Like me, I have two sons. I don't want either one of them to take care of me, okay? So I have a long-term care plan in place that's kind of like an indemnity plan that will pay for my long-term care needs, okay? And then, I got 1 minute left. I'm not going to be able to go on to my next subject, but I just want to mention that long-term care is our biggest risk factor today because of longevity. People are living so much longer. So the next time I have an opportunity and I don't have a guest, we're going to start at final expense planning and retirement income. Or if you like to get all of this information, I'll come to your house and sit down, or I'll give it to you on a computer or over the phone, and you can just call me. All my information is on the screen. So I want to thank you all so much for taking the opportunity to help yourself and to get your affairs in order, because nobody's all set, okay? So this is our show for today. I want to thank you for tuning in. This is the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show, and we're on your side.